Welcome to another edition of Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast, with your host, Brandon Morrell.
Hey guys and gals, this is recording artist Krislyn Arthurs, and you're listening to a grand slam of music, sports, and entertainment. It's the award-nominated Backstage Pass podcast with Brandon Morrell on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Tune into the show on iHeartRadio Podcasts, Spotify, and on the SportsGuysPodcast.com and on the THWN.org.
And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, back here, KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course out there too all the time, THWN.org, and our friends at the Sports Guys Podcast.com. It's a grand slam of music, sports, and entertainment. And of course, we were not able to make the country radio seminar this year, but you know what? Had a lot of friends get up there, said they had a lot of fun, a lot of interviews up there too as well. And our next effort is hopefully going to be a country music festival up there, CMA week coming up there hopefully in June. We'll have more on that as we get closer. The start of April, I'm back with a fresh start after a few weeks just off. I mean, I've stepped away from it, had a little vacation, and back to talk about Honky Tonk PhD, a brand new record coming out April 24th, and the current single, Double Wide, across all the digital streaming platforms. She's got some ties out there. Nashville recording artist Krislyn Arthurs to the program. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
It's good. You know, always, like you said, burnout can occur. And I guess I felt some of that beginning of March. And I went, vacation feels nice. So I'm not going to say that I got lazy overall. I still went to the gym, got my workouts in, but mentally, it was nice. Yeah, take a break, What?
At least you're going to the gym. I've kind of slacked. I feel a little underprepared in my artistry. I have you're talking about burnout, and I don't even hardly have makeup on today. I was just like, we're just casually chit-chatting, getting to know each other. So, maybe when you all see me out in public, you won't be so surprised when you see me in my artist wear. Be like, oh, who's that?
I like it though. She's rocking the ball cap there too at the same time. And of course, we'll get to some really cool sports and fun questions to our rapid fire segment coming up at the end. And of course, back with more great shows this week and over the next few weeks, because this is the time, spring / those summer releases, getting into it. Heavy concert, heavy touring is going on. Tell us about yourself and for the folks, especially out there in California and nationwide here on the show, just growing up, music in general, how it affected you, when that bug kind of was like, I'm going to take over, and you're going to take this as an interest in this, not just from a hobby, make it a career. Tell me about you, and as we get to know you here on the show a little bit.
So I pretty much grew up in a pretty musically based family. My mom had a band for a short period of time, but we were avid karaoke singers. My mom probably had every single karaoke tape you could ever imagine. But all growing up, I just remember singing anything from Shania Twain to Toby Keith to Garth Brooks and George Strait. The Dixie Chicks were my favorite, or I should say the Chicks now. And then later on, as I grew into Terry Clark and Gretchen Wilson and Miranda Lambert, Casey Musgraves, those have been all of my huge influences and idols. But yeah, I just kind of taught myself how to play guitar my senior year. Didn't really get into songwriting until I was probably 20 years old. I had a little interview kind of meeting thing with a Sony rep who he was like, well, do you write your own songs? And I said, no, I didn't really realize there was a whole songwriting community. Like I said, we weren't very deep into the music industry. We just grew up listening to things we loved on the radio. So everything that I've kind of learned over the years in the industry has been self-taught and, kind of listening and working around other people who are in the industry. I've also been given a lot of really bad information. So kind of weeding out what's real and what's not, and kind of the direction that I've had to go has been a very long process. But thankfully, I'm so thankful that I've had to do it a little bit harder than normal. But I taught myself to play guitar, started writing songs a couple years later, didn't play at my first live show for 2 more years after I started writing songs. And then my first show, I was so nervous, I almost threw up. Had such bad stage fright. I never really sang in front of anybody. And halfway through, the bar manager was like, hey, you got to get it together. You got to go. And, it was a packed bar. We had really bad PA, had no idea how to run it. And, thankfully showed so much grace and we had so much fun anyways that I sucked it up and pulled myself together and finished the show. And I don't like to call them gigs, but I gigged pretty hard for the first 4 or 5 years before I realized, hey, I want to make a career out of this. I started getting quite a bit of traction. People were coming to see me sing at shows and were trying to learn original music that I hadn't even put anything out. I released my very first single in 2021 and has gradually been releasing songs every year since then. And then finally got the courage to record a 10-song album, and this is the biggest project I've ever worked on or been a part of, and I'm super excited to get these songs out.
And a lot of musicians come on with me and they talk about it no matter how long they've been doing this. Independent artists, label, no label, things like that, funding. I mean, all these things, these questions come up in just general discussions that we have through the course of all that. You mentioned there too, getting established, how hard that is. Was there that point in your mind? Did it ever cross? And I know for me it has when I started this project, this whole radio show. Sometimes it's easy just to kind of like say, you know what, I'm going to give up. It's not worth it. I'm going to throw in the towel. Obviously, when work gets hard, the harder it gets, the more it just fuels you and fuels your fire to go work. Did it ever cross your mind through any of that, Krislyn, to like throw in the towel?
Yeah, so, I've always had a little bit of doubt, like maybe this isn't for me, but, the Lord keeps kind of opening doors. But about 2 years ago, I looked at my husband and I said, I don't want to keep doing this. Like I'm tired. There were several days where I was up for over 24 hours trying to drive us home because we just simply had no money to even stay the night in a hotel. And so me and my bass player, we would take turns driving us all the way home. And it was just like I looked out at the crowd one time and there were 5 people there. And then there were 3 people after, they had left. And I was like, I'm 8 years, 9 years in this career, and we only have 3 to 5 people that are coming to see us and hang out with us. And, I don't want to say that that's not important because those 3 to 5 people are very important to me because they bought a ticket, they came out to see us, or they paid a door tab or whatever it was. But they weren't there for us. They were there because they were there to drink and we just happened to be there. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like disheartening to see that I was 2 hours from home and we were playing in a bar for 3 to 5 people. And, I just kind of looked around and I said, is this really what I need to be doing? Like I was sacrificing time away from my family. I missed birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, and it was just kind of like I asked myself, is what I'm doing, is this worth the sacrifices that I'm making? And, I took a small hiatus from December into February. And I got a call that we were added for Battle of the Bands at the Tumbleweed for the big Calf Ride Festival in Stillwater. And we didn't make it through the first round, but then we were invited back as a wild card. And I was like, okay, we've got this in the bag. Well, we didn't end up winning in the top 3, but we were invited to do the Calf Ride pre-party. Well, at that time, we got to be able to be backstage and hang out with a lot of the artists that I've already worked with over the years. So I felt like that kind of relit another fire in my belly, just like, okay, well, just hang on. Like everything's going to come with highs and lows. And I was at my lowest point. And I feel like Stillwater's community has kind of opened up their doors to me in the last couple years and really helped kind of rekindle that fire that I felt like was going out. Well, and then after Cat Fry settled down, about 2 weeks later, I got a call from Braxton Keith's management that we were going to be on a show with him up in Wichita, Kansas. And that was the biggest show I've ever played in my life. I ended up getting severely sick that week, lost my voice, had made 2 trips to the doctor, had IV steroid shot in my butt, all kinds of medicine, had just enough voice to make it through that show. And it was just like, kind of felt like one thing after the next was happening. But then again, like so many great things were following it. So it was just like, okay, okay, maybe my story is going to be a little bit rockier, but I think that's just the way that maybe that's going to help my longevity as an artist and build a stronger version of me. And it's also brought incredible songs out of all of that
Yeah.
struggle.
Well, we're going to play one of those right now. Again, the full-length album, April 24th, coming out there, too. It's time to get a little PhD, give an education here on the program here. It's Honky Tonk PhD. It's Krislyn Arthurs, the Backstage Pass, KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Back in a flash. Stay tuned.
Well, Mama's got a permanent spot in the county jail. My daddy slings dope left town, yeah, he hightailed. Brother likes to fight, yeah, he go toe-to-toe with the biggest Joe Blow at the watering hole. He ain't afraid of much, he's meaner than a junkyard dog. Done some bitching and complaining and a lot of hell raising, but I ain't gonna change my ways. Yeah, I come from a mighty long line of losers, that's just the way I was raised. I've been drinking and smoking and blowing every dollar I made. I got some low-hanging fruit on my family tree. The apple didn't fall too far from me. We don't have no fancy college degree, just a honky-tonk PhD. Well, Aunt Betty down at the barber shop hustles them pills, $5 a pop. She's got all your needs for all your aches and pains. And Uncle Bobby, yeah, he's going insane, dancing in the streets in his boxer briefs. He's a white coat wearing in the back of the van since his wife ran off with his brother Dan. I've done some bitching and complaining and a lot of hell raising, but I ain't gonna change my ways. Yeah, I come from a mighty long line of losers, that's just the way I was raised. I've been drinking and smoking and blowing every dollar I made. I got some low-hanging fruit on my family tree. The apple didn't fall too far from me. We don't have no fancy college degree, just a honky-tonk PhD. Come on, boys! I've done some bitching and complaining and a lot of hell raising, but I ain't gonna change my ways, no I ain't. Yeah, I come from a mighty long line of losers, that's just the way I was raised. I've been drinking and smoking and blowing every dollar I made. I got some low-hanging fruit on my family tree. The apple didn't fall too far from me. We don't have no fancy college degree, just a honky-tonk PhD. A honky-tonk PhD. That's a country song right there.
Hey y'all, this is Nashville recording artist Raina Roberts, and you're listening to the award-nominated Backstage Pass on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network, and on iHeartRadio podcast, and anytime at thesportsguyspodcast.com. You can also stream on thwn.org.
Looking to make your business stand out? Orange County Graphics has you covered. With premium signs, vibrant decals, eye-catching banners, stunning vehicle wraps, and custom graphics tailored to fit your needs. Whether you want to upgrade your storefront or turn your vehicle into a moving billboard, our expert team will bring your vision to life with quality and creativity. Check us out on Facebook or call 409-550-2906 today. Let's get your message noticed. Call Orange County Graphics. That's 409-550-2906.
Hey y'all, this is Texas recording artist Marcy Grace, and you're listening to the award-nominated Backstage Pass on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area broadcasting network, and on the sportsguyspodcast.com. Stream the show anytime on thwn.org and on iHeartRadio podcasts.
And back here on the show again, KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area broadcasting network out there too. Happy Major League Baseball opening week and into April now here. 2026, Krislyn Arthurs here back on the program, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course the Sports Guys podcast.com, a grand slam of music, sports, entertainment. Tell us about the full project. I mentioned April 24th, played a fantastic song. We don't get too many titles with the PhD in there, but I thought this was kind of cool because you've lived it, you've written about it, and now you're singing about it on stage, which is kind of cool because you've taken us on you're giving us an education of what the music industry is all about, right?
That's right. It's all about honky tonking and having a good time, right?
Yeah. Tell us about this one, how it came together, the writing. And I loved it because the lyrics meant a lot to me, no doubt about it, too, because I did bar hop. Who didn't bar hop when they were in their 20s, right? In their 30s.
Absolutely. So really the way this song came about is I had the title. I knew I wanted to write a song about honky tonkin', and I just felt like, I didn't want it to be cliche. I didn't want to write about something that everybody else has ever written about. I said, well, I'm a college dropout. I pretty much lived off of my college funds. And nobody in my immediate family has ever graduated from college. My mom and I both kind of went for a year and we dropped out, but that's about as far as our college stint went. My brother is an avid, county jail attender.
Okay.
So we kind of come from I like to call it a long line of losers, but we're actually not losers. We're actually really fun. But anyways, I got to thinking about it, and my favorite thing to do is bitch and complain. And my husband said, that's true. And so in the chorus, I said, I've done some bitching and complaining, but I love to have a good time anytime I go anywhere. So hell raising had to be in there, of course. And, but just kind of telling my backstory and the way I was raised and the way where I come from, I just really wanted to paint that really colorful picture and give some really good two-stepping tunes. And that's where that one came from.
All right, I did some digging, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong on this too, but it's always cool because I like to showcase the homework here on the show when we dig a little bit too to ask these questions. And I think it's kind of fascinating because what I'm about to ask you too is just really two cool words that go together. So it was on your Instagram page out there, and you guys give her a follow at Krislyn Arthurs music out there, Krislyn. Make sure you guys put it in correctly, get the right tag. Trainwreck Conductor. Now, I've got to know more about this or what this is all about, why it's up there in the information slot, because this is kind of cool. And I want to know where you're going with this. I like this.
Okay, so the story behind the Trainwreck Conductor is my band name when we are out playing band shows is it's Krislyn Arthurs and the Trainwrecks.
Oh, okay.
And with me being the front man, they always call me the Hot Mess Express. And, I actually just had this conversation with my bass player. I said, Steve, I think we're going to have to axe the name Trainwrecks because I feel like our career is a bad omen and it's kind of taken the metaphor Trainwrecks a little too seriously. And, when I created the Trainwrecks, I was like, well, I want it to be very ironic because, when we get on stage and we're performing, we are not a train wreck show. We are very put together, fun. I mean, I don't want to always say put together, but, if something's going to go wrong or go south, it's going to be with me. So, that's why I named myself the Trainwreck Conductor, and we are Krislyn Arthurs and the Trainwrecks.
I like that. Good story behind that too. I knew there would be too. See, we do the homework out there too here on the
well,
the show.
Thank you.
Which is a good thing out there. Dig up a little information. The end of January, another cool one came out. This was really cool across all the DSPs out there. Double Wide. Tell us all about this one.
Okay, kind of the same thing. Grew up kind of high class white trash. Even though I'm proud of it, every time I asked my mom, I said, "Hey, Mom, I need some beer cans for a project. My mom brings this big giant trash bag full of cans. She's like, I got these from the weekend for you. So I the storyline came from that. I was a dental assistant for 12 years before I fully pursued music. And I worked with a woman who was in her high 60s, but you would never ever know that she was almost 70 years old because she would run circles around us young girls. And she was just so fun. And she goes, Krislyn, you're not going to believe this. My granddaughter got this embarrassing picture of me this weekend. I was driving on this John Deere lawnmower tractor. I had these hot curlers in my hair and had a cat in my, like, big fat cat sitting in my lap. And I said, Yvonne, as you're telling me this story, I'm picturing how I can write this song. And the first line of hot curlers in her hair and a cat on her lap. She drives John Deere, not a Cadillac. And my first truck that I ever drove was like a 1989 short bed Chevy. And it's still sitting in my parents' front yard with the wheels rotting off of it full of junk. So I had to add a little bit of my white trash history into that and make it another fun one. Because I feel like a lot of my music up till now it's been a little bit darker, and my personality is a little bit dark, but I'm a very bright person, and I don't mean that in like a weird way. I mean that in when you talk to me, my goal is to make you laugh at some point in the day or smile. I feel like there's so much darkness and negativity in the world. With some of these songs, I really wanted to, brighten up, the situations in the world. And Double Wide was definitely always been one of my feel good songs that I wrote, and one of my earlier songs too. So I had to add it into the record.
Now, should we get all psycho with people here on the Backstage Pass? Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite one on the record.
Record's coming out April 24th. Krislyn Arthurs music.com. And we're getting a little psycho here. It's the Backstage Pass. Brandon Morrell, again, the Sports Guys, podcast.com and KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. It's Krislyn Arthurs. Crank it up.
There's a Like smile in my mugshot, stake out on her block just to catch your sorry ass. Put sugar in your gas tank, pull all your money from the bank. Yeah, love made me do crazy things, but you made me insane. Oh, you made me so insane. I went insane.
Hey y'all, this is Chandler Marie, and you're listening to the award-nominated Backstage Pass on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. You can listen to on thwn.org and on iHeartRadio podcasts and anytime at thesportsguyspodcast.com.
Are you looking to increase your online presence? Are you searching for a new logo or company branding? Have you been considering more ways to reach the world with your business, ministry, or church's message? Barkley Music and Media is an award-winning design company that utilizes the latest technology while keeping the integrity of over 30 years of customer service. Web design, graphic design, multimedia, video editing, voiceover, commercials, logo design and branding, photography, and much, much more. See portfolios and testimonials online at www.barkleymusicandmedia.com or contact them today at 502-382-8299. Barkley Music and Media, your connection for the best in multimedia. Call today, 502-382-8299, or go to www.barkleymusicandmedia.com. Barkley Music and Media, integrity, technology, and design. www.barkleymusicandmedia.com.
Hey guys and gals, this is Megan Lindsay, and you're listening to the award-nominated Backstage Pass on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network, and on iHeartRadio Podcast. Stream the show anytime on thwn.org and at thesportsguyspodcast.com.
Is your home or business in need of a fresh look? Right Flow Pressure Washing and Lawn LLC is more than just pressure washing, providing professional cleaning for homes, commercial buildings, parking lots, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning, and so much more, including lawn service and landscaping. Our mission here at Right Flow is to exceed the needs of all our customers while providing all of our services at an affordable rate. We're committed to going above and beyond where the job is done right. Give your property the care it deserves. Call Right Flow today at 409-363-2565 or go to rightflowwashandlawn.com.
Hey y'all, this is country recording artist Jay Webb, and you're listening to the best in music and sports with Brandon Morrell on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Stream the show anytime on iHeartRadio Podcast and at thesportsguyspodcast.com. You can also listen at thwn.org.
Back here on the show again, too, Krislyn Arthurs, the Backstage Pass, of course, coming up over the next few weeks. More great interviews here and storytelling here on the Grand Slam of Music, Sports, Entertainment, and countdown, hopefully to be at CMA Week, which I know is going to be June 4th to 7th. Beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, at the Music City Center. If we get to partake in it, it will be the third annual one for us. And like I said, the CMA organization always does a great job. And you mentioned your favorite one off of that. And it's always good to get a little psycho because, let's face it, we all have things in our mind that make us think things we probably shouldn't. But at the same time, there's things we talk to ourselves. I mean, I know I talk to myself a lot, too, when it comes down to it. But I'm not going to go all craziness out there. But there are things that you have to really tell yourself sometimes as a human being that you may not want to let out. But you're thinking these things inside your head, and you may not act on them. But I thought it was another, because I know you love storytelling. You love lyrically what a song is, captivating an audience. And this one just took me on a ride from start to finish. Tell us all about it.
All right, so Psycho is definitely one of my favorite songs that I've written that landed on this record. It actually happened in about 20 minutes. I knew I wanted to write a song about always being called crazy and things like that and some of the relationships I'd been in. But then also I got on messy TikTok and I thought I was crazy. Those gals are crazy. So I got a lot of inspiration from hearing true life stories that people have done in the name of love. And I was like, that's so crazy. Is I thought I was like FBI kind of crazy, but these ladies are crazy. And, I like putting sugar in his gas tank. I've never personally done that, but a girl from high school that I went to high school with, she did that to a brand new truck, and sure enough, it ruined the brand new truck, blew the engine. But he never cheated again. And there's just so many things that I feel like we're kind of pushed to the limit and kind of gaslit into making us think that we are crazy when honestly we know the truth all along. We just need to physically see it with our own eyes before we believe it. And then honestly, you kind of are made to feel crazy because you're like, am I imagining this? Is this really happening right now? Is this happening in front of my own eyes? And I just kind of was like, well, I know this kind of happened at one point in my life, and then this happened to my friend, and I just had to add everybody's kind of little touch to that just to make it a little bit more crazier than I would have been able to on my own.
I got to ask you about Oklahoma now. Of course, great part. You're just like I said, north of me. It's the northern part there too. Is my neighbors from Oklahoma up there too. So many great artists have come out of there. Talk about just what it means, and you talk about Texas too, right there too, because of the border states. But at the same time, so many great artists. Blake Shelton being one of them too, and just people that you looked up to that shaped you as an artist, and why so many great artists come out of Oklahoma, Texas, and you look at Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Georgia, and it's crazy. And I remember one time Marty Raven told me here on the show, it's just great music is great music. It's just going to captivate somebody, when it's there, and like their music is done for so many years. And I know you want that long career, but talk about just the artists that shaped you and growing up in Oklahoma and kind of what you learned.
So I hadn't actually been. So I'm from a little bitty town called Medford, and the closest city was anywhere from 2 hours to 2.5 hours. And so I wasn't really accessible to a lot of musicians and a lot of songwriters or anything like that. So I didn't actually get to meet a lot of these people that have kind of cut their teeth in the scene with me until later on in my career when we kind of get added onto the same songwriting night or festival and things like that. So I've met a lot of the people that I've gotten to work with through social media. I will say that I kind of cut my teeth alongside Josh Malloy and those guys, Wyatt Flores. We all were kind of in the scene, working our way up all about the same time. I've known Josh since high school. But I grew up going back and forth to Stillwater from the Tumbleweed, and when I was 18 years old, there was nothing like that close to where we were. So I would load up in my car. I'd get one of my girlfriends, and I'd say, "Come on, we're gonna go watch Randall King." I had just like discovered him when I saw his name on the lineup, and I started listening to his music, and I loved it. And then I found Kojo, and I found Wade Bowen and Casey Donahue and Aaron Watson. I found all those guys, and I really, really love their music. And Stoney LaRue, Blue Edmondson, all those guys. I just really, really started listening to the songs that they were singing and the way they were playing on stage and how they were making everybody have a great time and dance. And I feel like at one point I looked up and I was like, I want to do that. And so I feel like I've had a lot of influence, but I'll be honest, a lot of my influences and idols have come out of Nashville. I feel like there's such incredible songwriting and artists, and I know Nashville's kind of changed a little bit. But even Alabama, I met Taylor Honeycutt a couple years ago, and she's changed my life. She is incredible inside, outside, stage performance, artistry. So I feel like that's where a lot of influence and passion has come from, is just getting to work alongside artists that are out here doing the damn thing. They're not taking a handout. They're not taking the easy way. They're out touring and grinding and doing all this, a lot of it on their own.
Yeah, huge respect for artists that do that too at the same time and just bust their ass to get where they have to go. And like I said, anything just worth working for, perseverance is the key, and that grind, pays off out there too as well, to go after what you want, get through all the no's until you get to that one just career changing moment out there too. As all the hard work does add up. I wanted to talk about a couple other songs before we get to some of the rapid fire stuff out there, but The Judge, and I look back in the catalog, 2023, really hit me. I think a lot of people the word judge in a song, you don't hear too much, or at least I don't hear it too much for the country music that I listen to out there, whether it be a, the established artist on a label or independent artists like yourself. But that was a cool tune. And then I loved Odessa, because that painted a really cool picture for me. 2024. Take us back to, let's start with the judge.
So the judge, I had went through a domestic violence relationship when I was really young. I had always said, like, I'm never going to be in that kind of situation. And you don't really know or realize that you're in that situation until an event happens. But now that I'm older, I should have seen a lot of the warning signs. But I come from a town where your last name is everything. And, I kind of put a little bit of the influence in there as well as stories of women that I've associated with and their situations, and how hard it was for them to get away. But I had to paint a picture of, like, well, if I was ever in that situation again, that would never happen. The last thing somebody would ever see is staring down the barrel of a gun. And that might kind of get me canceled, but it's so true that women, I feel like, lose their own power when they're in those situations, and they forget that they are in control of their life and their situations, and that they're worthy. And the judge kind of gave me back a lot of that power that I feel was taken from me at that point in my life. um and I had to do a little bit of a play on words, because it's like, you can't always just sweep things under the rug. And I feel like the judge is really important to me, because mainly I just wanted women to know that they are in control of their life.
Mhm.
And now I don't condone violence, but
Mhm.
I'm a true believer in taking control of your life, and standing firm in what you believe, and don't allow people to treat you badly or walk all over you or treat you any less than you deserve.
Mhm. No, it's a great, great message you're sending there too with that particular. And then again, you've lived it, you understand it from a firsthand experience, and you're able to put it together in words and express it in a great song there too. Let's talk about Odessa. This was a really cool, because I love that artwork. Anytime album artwork or single artwork is out there too, to capture that, I think this one really did justice there. 2024, when this one came out, paint us a kind of a picture on that one for me.
So Odessa started out, it's a very blue collar song. My husband was out working in Odessa, Midland, and Big Spring for about a year while I was, you know, here at home and with our child. And he, it was just like he would get to come home for a little bit, but the road always has to take him out, especially in this, where we live. It's kind of just the way of life. And I was raised that way. My dad was gone a lot. And, it's just kind of, you sit there and you're thinking, gosh, I've seen, like, I wonder if the sunsets look like they do back home while you're gone, and tell me what they look like out there. I was basically praying to, or begging a town to let go of him and let him come back home, when it's just like, it's the work that's out there that's providing for our family, and kind of comes from a wife's prayer of,
Mhm.
I wish sometimes me as a wife could financially provide a little bit more than what I can right now in my career. So he doesn't have to make the sacrifices to be out there. But I know a lot of families can relate to that, where, you know, being in rural Oklahoma, the economy just isn't, it's not enough to give your family a better life than I'm sure you could. A lot of families out here, we live paycheck to paycheck, and, try and make ends meet. But sometimes, in order to live uncomfortable and to be comfortable in the same sense, as you've got to get uncomfortable and leave for a little bit, because when they're on the road, they get per diem, they get extra money. That extra money can go more to Christmas, or now that our daughter's getting older, it can go more to softball and buy new things that she needs. And so Odessa really came from a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hurt in my life at that point.
You're one of the most, I tell you, genuine artists that I've met here on here too. That's why we get along so well. Your story is amazing, 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 and we're gonna have to have you back when this album comes back, April 24th. You guys can make sure you stream that across your social media platforms, and visit Krislyn Arthurs music.com for more information. And those tour dates, go out and support the artists, especially the ones that bust their ass and grind and tour out there and work hard. Pick up some merch while you're at the website there, Krislyn Arthurs Music.com. All right, let's get to some fun stuff out there too. I mentioned I was into like Major League Baseball, and I got to go to my first Astros game last night here in Houston because I'm a diehard
How
Astros fan.
fun.
Love it too. Bought me a new cap and some merch out there. Probably spend a little bit too much in the ballpark, but anytime you go out to the sporting events and the venues, you're going to be able to do that. For you, I mean, obviously Oklahoma, nationwide. What college teams, what pro teams do it for you?
Well, I will be honest. I don't watch a lot of baseball,
Okay.
but my cousin he was the starting center for the OSU Cowboys.
Okay.
Many moons ago, he went on to be a Cleveland Indian for a couple years, and then now I don't really know what he does now, but I don't think he plays any baseball. But I will say that I get to do quite a bit of work with the Oklahoma State University. We get to play some shows and things like that, but through and through, if I'm being honest, I'm a Booner Sooner.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you, it's all right. Southeastern Conference, you keep it in the same conference down here for us. It's Texas A&M that we root for there too. It's always a classic game when they get together,
Yeah.
and of course the big Red River rivalry. They're easy to say for the Triple R there. Texas, OU, always in Dallas, and get to see a game like that too. If people haven't been, I encourage you to get out there and catch one of the sports biggest rivalries too there too. So Boomer Sooner, nothing wrong with that too, because again, a lot of Texas ties, and they do a lot of great recruiting up there.
Yeah. I'll be honest, we come from a house divided. So when OU's not playing, of course, I got to support Texas. But anyways, we're a big softball family. So we try to go watch softball games, and OU softball is big in this house.
I like that. All right. Favorite food to kind of eat out when it's night on the town, you got a little time with family, or maybe you're touring. What's the go-to food?
Well, if we are down south, more by the ocean, I'm a huge seafood fan.
Okay.
If anything, crab, crawfish, I'm a huge crawfish fan. But if we're more in the Midwest, I love Mexican food, Italian. But of course, you can't turn down a good steak.
All right. All right. When it comes to a little sweet tooth, I like to go that route sometimes here and there. For me, it's like a cinnamon roll, so something as easy as that, or an eclair will do it for me. What does it for you? Ice cream or just any kind of sweets? What do you like?
Well, so with my career, I have actually started a little treat business. So I make very delicate chocolate covered strawberries and Oreo balls. So I really enjoy a good chocolate covered strawberry or some cheesecake. I love cheesecake. But my road snack is a gummy bear.
Okay, so
I
you
have
know
gummy bears.
we're gonna have to like do it like taste test kind of thing here on the air
Yeah.
when we in person.
Yes.
Like that's coming because that's food wise. We got to do that. You know what I'm saying? As far as chocolate covered strawberries here live on the Backstage Pass, I'm gonna have to do that too at the same time out there.
Yes, we need to.
Dream collaboration. Write a song with them. Step on stage with them. A band, a female, male artist. Who you picking and why?
Okay, male collaboration. I'm gonna say Braxton Keith. I've already gotten to go do a show with him, but I think it would be amazing to get to collaborate on a song. Let's see. I would love to work with Ashley McBride. Her songwriting, I feel like I've kind of started to influence a lot of my songwriting after hers. Her stories are just very colorful and bright, and you picture that song as it plays in your head. And I would absolutely die if I got to work with her. Not really, but
Yeah,
it would just be such a career moment for me.
Gotcha. No, she's a fantastic songwriter. You mentioned it too, and is one of those artists that has shaped it, come a long way, and like I said, went through a lot of that different no's out there too, and persevered and got to the top, scratched her way across out there too. Much more
I
respect.
love that she never kind of changed anything about who she is. That's super important to me.
Stayed authentic too, and I love it because I wanted to ask you about that, and we'll finish with this one. But Ashley McBride, Carly Pierce, Ella Langley, Lainey Wilson, some of these ladies I've had her on this very program right here too. To the 90s country ladies, to Dina Carter, to Terry Clark, to all the great Faith Hill. I mean, there's so many more. Shania, you mentioned, that paved the way for you to be able to do this today. And what's it feel like for you sitting there and watching these ladies now, like take over country radio and you just being badasses out there?
Yeah. It's really exciting considering you used to only hear Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert on the radio. Very rarely would you hear anybody else. Every now and then you'd hear Casey Musgraves be put in there. And then more so we got to see Ashley McBride. But up until I feel like the last 5 years, more and more females are really breaking out on the scene. And that has been really encouraging and reassuring. And also getting to see the shift back to more country instead of pop country has been, it just lets me know that maybe did the right thing about staying away from Nashville as long as I did. I just started going back last year.
Well, like I said, you've done the right thing out there too. This is kind of that pocket you fit in it, no doubt about it. And I know good Lord's got some really cool things, in store for you coming up there. Again, the new record, April 24th. Honky Tonk PhD is going to be on there. Double Wide, I mean, all these great songs. Double Wide we talked about too as well, and so many great songs. Psycho, I can't wait to hear this full-length record. I might have to ask Brandy, send it over in advance. Let me hear all the great...
She didn't send it to you yet?
I don't know if she sent me the full-length album. If she hasn't, I'm going to text her and we're going to say, you know what, I got to hear the whole thing, because the daughter's already jamming out to a few of these songs that we talked about.
Okay,
So
well, if you can't get a hold of her to get it, I'll send you a copy of it.
Look forward to hearing that too as well. And again, KrislynArthursMusic.com, and Double Wide's available for your listening pleasure across all the DSPs out there. KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network, iHeartRadio, Spotify, the Sports Guys Podcast.com, and out there, THWN.org. Hey, I appreciate to get to know you. Just tremendous success going forward. Continued success here in 2026. We appreciate you being with us, and much more love, in your career, and I hope it all works out for you. Come back anytime. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you again so much for having me and taking the time to visit with me.
You got it. Krislyn Arthurs across all the DSPs out there. KrislynArthursMusic.com. We're back with more great shows coming up over the next few weeks here. It is the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, a grand slam of music, sports, and entertainment. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. God bless.
Hey, folks, this is George Thorogood, and you're listening to a grand slam of music, sports, and entertainment. It's the award-nominated Backstage Pass podcast with Brandon Morrell and Roger Barkley on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Tune into the show on iHeartRadio and Spotify, and at the sportsguyspodcast.com and on the THWN.org.